32. There we go. There we go.
There we go. My name is Bart Bean, and I'm your worship associate today. Welcome to Tapestry, a loving Unitarian Universalist community. As one fortunate to be born Unitarian, I welcome you all, the newest to the oldest member. This is a place for families to spend time together and build multi-generational community. Here we respect diversity and come to practice loving our neighbor and our whole selves. This hour is an opportunity to reflect and open ourselves to encounter the sacred, however it manifests for each of us, particularly during these difficult times when we are apart but not alone. Thank you for your patience as we are all learning this new way to be together in community. Please remember to keep your microphone muted throughout the service, although we would love to see your smiling faces. Reverend Kent is in the pulpit today, and I'd like to encourage you to find a chalice or a candle so you can light it at home when we light our chalices together in a moment. And I'd like to also invite you to greet everyone in the chat function. And you can continue this chat after the service. The Zoom will remain open for people to connect. Tapestry has fun events for people of all ages and interest. Well, let's welcome each other. Hi, everybody. Hi, Chad.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. What? Hi, welcome. Hi. We're welcoming you. I'd like to remind you that Tapestry has fun events for people of every age and interest. More information about these events is available in the order of service, the newsletter, or in the Tapestry website. Are we moving along? During the past few weeks, I have had a resurgence of PTSD. As a Vietnam War veteran who worked in American and Vietnamese operating rooms for 21 months, I have an old but still intimate awareness of the struggles healthcare workers and all of us are having all over the world. Knowing that those healthcare workers will suit up and show up, but arrive not knowing if they will survive. Just as in Vietnam, none of them who must fight the most dangerous battles will ever be the same. Some will die. In the growing spirit of generosity, we no longer spit on returning military personnel. We seem as a country to have learned that lesson. Ellen and I have recently re-met almost all our neighbors and plenty we didn't know while walking our new dog, Bonnie Itzhak Kranzen. And I have watched the video of neighbors clapping and cheering on an ambulance worker at a safe distance as she cried and got into her car to go to work. Perhaps realizing that we are all in this together reminds us that none of us have to do it alone. I'd like to invite you to participate in lighting your own chalice as we light ours. We gather in this time of uncertainty, full of unknowns, as angst closes in upon us. we light this chalice with a flame that draws us together. With this spirit, with this flame, we cut through the dankness of isolation and are warmed by the fires of our interconnection. For this moment, this radical moment, we find certainty within the knowable bonds of love and community. Please join with me in reading our covenant and singing our song of affirmation. Because Zoom can only recognize one voice at a time, please keep your microphones muted, but read along with me in your homes. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another.
Once more, the earth has turned toward the light of the sun as we're bathed in the light of a new day. So may we greet the dawning of fresh possibility. Once more, we awaken from our slumber as our bodies rise to meet the challenges and the pleasures of living. So may our hearts and minds open with promise. Once more, we gather for worship. As we join our voices in word and in song, so may this gathering bring forth wholeness. It's good to be with you all. Welcome to our time to be together in worship.
Our opening hymn today is Come, Come, Whoever You Are. Most everyone knows this song, but I looked back and looked up the original poem by Rumi and found that there's actually another verse to that it's kind of a shame I thought wasn't included in our hymn. So we've added it as the second verse. Very quickly, the words are come to the second verse. Come, come, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, ours is no caravan, and so on, continues the same. The words will be on the screen as we sing as well. So please join me in singing our opening hymn, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
So let's restart that. Eddie is muted, but we need to hear.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure how that happened. Did you hear my intro at all? Oh, okay. So let's try that again. So our opening hymn today is Come, Come, Whoever You Are. I looked up the original poem by Rumi and found that there's actually a second verse that I thought was kind of a shame wasn't in the hymn. So we put it in there. You'll see the words on the screen, but the second verse, which is the different one, is come, come, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times before. And then it continues, ours is no caravan. So please join me in our opening hymn, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. Come, come, whoever you are, Wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, even though you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Good morning, old friends, new friends, and those I haven't met yet. I'm getting tears in my eyes because I see you all, even if it is virtually. I see our sanctuary filled with children and adults, Reverend Kent, Bart, the choir, and of course, Melissa and Eddie. Also to Dave at the dining room table, also known as the Tapestry Online Worship Control Center. I'm not going to speak with you about vision. I'm going to speak with you about having a home. We were introduced to Unitarian Universalism in 1974, shortly after our daughter Heather was born. Having grown up in Massachusetts as devout Congregationalists, the idea of being able to have doubts and questions was amazing. As you can imagine, if you know us, we became involved in our local congregation. We found our spiritual and supportive home there. After a few years, we moved to the Binghamton, New York area. Again, we found our community. After 19 months, Dave's job led us elsewhere, this time to the Syracuse, New York area. There we faced an interesting conundrum. There were 2 churches available to us. Imagine. We tried one with a vibrant youth program, but it was not a loving community. We then tried First Universalist, and even though the RE program was small, both the minister and Universalism spoke to our hearts. This time the kids lost, but they went on to help create a vibrant youth program, and once again, we were home. When we moved to Orange County in 1991, the first thing we did was to search for our next UU congregation. We found a congregation that was home and dove in with both hands and our hearts. Along with some of you, we have struggled through church in a box in various schools. Ask me about that after coffee hour. We have worked at finding places we could lease, worried about paying the rent and having to ask the landlord to please give us a little more time. And now, finally, we have purchased our own home. Having our own home is a dream that we have cherished for 21 years. Now in this time of insecurity, it's even more important to support our beloved community and all that comprises. We must pay the mortgage. Did you know that it is held by some of our Tapestry members? We must cover the fixed costs of maintaining the building, even if there is no one there. I know that you'll agree that we have a fantastic and inspiring staff. We owe it to them to maintain, and if possible, increase our pledges for 2020. I know this is not possible for everyone, and the leadership understands that too. But in our many times of need in the past, our members and friends have always come through. That is why we support Tapestry with our time, talents, and treasure. This is why, even in these uncertain times, Dave and I have increased our pledge, because this is our home.
Every Sunday when we gather for worship, whether it's in person or virtually, we pause to lift up the sorrows and the celebrations that mark our lives. I want to pause just a moment. You're welcome to type anything into the chat box that you would like to, that we all have a lot of stuff going on in our lives, but if you want to share something with the community, this is a great time to do that. I did get a few emails of particular note that I want to share with you all. One is that Melissa Sky Eagle's dad, Bill, was in the hospital for 3 days this week with cellulitis in his leg. He's doing better now and recovering, but we want to keep him in our thoughts. We also got an email in our office from Dan saying, I'm feeling distressed about the pandemic and I would really appreciate positive thoughts from Tapestry. Dan, we're right there with you for sure. And then finally, I got an email with a note that 4 Tapestry members who were planning on going to Amsterdam in July have had their trip canceled. There's going to be a lot of canceled plans and journeys that are cut short. For these that I have spoken aloud and those being shared in our chat box, and undoubtedly the countless other concerns and joys that are in all of our hearts, would you join me in reading our congregational response? For your joys, we join you in celebration. For your sorrows and concerns, may you feel our compassion. For all that is spoken and unspoken, may the caring of our beloved community sustain you.
Good morning, everybody. It's so great to see everybody and to see so many people coming together for our virtual service. A few things that I did want to cover just right before I get into the story. We are doing virtual RE classes. The times for these, we're still going to kind of work out. For today was our first time, 10 a.m. for the younger class and 11 for the older class. It may be a little bit later than 11 today, but I will be in that classroom. Also, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to be looking to do a lunchtime story time with any kids that want to be included or that want to come. We'll just be reading stories and hanging out and making funny faces at each other and showing people our pets and things like that. So I'll have more on that as it comes. I plan on sending out an email to everybody after the service today for more information on that. And if you would like to be on that email list and you're not, just shoot me an email and we'll make sure you get on the list. For today, however, I Am Love by Susan Verde is our time for all ages. When I see someone going through a storm of hurt and unfairness, of anger and sadness, when the sun disappears and the skies grow dark, and I see there is fear, I ask myself, what can I do to help the light back in? I put my hands on my heart and listen, and that is where I find the answer. I have compassion. I act with tenderness. I am love. I can listen and not say a word. I can be there. Love is being present. I can hug and hold and say everything will be all right. Love is comfort. I can speak softly and choose my words and actions carefully. Love is gentle. I can give thanks for all I have and am able to share. Love is gratitude. I can keep my mind and body safe and healthy. Love is taking care of me. I can express what's important to me. Love is creative. I can know that no one is perfect. Love is understanding. I can do my best to make things better when something is wrong. Love is effort. I can celebrate those I've loved before. Love is remembering. I can find goodness in a kind word, a helping hand, or a shared smile. Love is tiny gestures. I can breathe in the air that the whole world shares and know all creatures are made from the very same stardust. Love is connection. When the clouds roll in for others and for me, I know there is something I can do. I can let my heart lead the way. I am love. You are love. We are love. And with love, we will weather the storm and light up the sky. Together. The end.
Our reading this morning is a responsive reading. Much like the hymns, I'm going to invite you to keep yourself muted, but to read aloud the response part at home. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success, when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. Bravo, Nikki. Bravo. And Scott, it's nice to meet you. Would you join me now for a short time of meditation or prayer? Spirit of life, God of many names, mystery beyond naming, we gather in thanks for this good day, to be together and to remember the interconnectedness of all our lives. We hold in our hearts this morning a whole world in need. Rarely in the history of our human family have we all been in such need together. May this be a time to bring us together. May we learn to lean toward compassion rather than fear, toward generosity rather than greed, toward peace rather than panic. We take a short time now to quiet our hearts and minds. You may want to use this time for your own silent prayer. You may want to use it for meditation. I want to offer you a short mantra that may be useful in this time. Breathe in, right here, right now. Breathe out, I am safe. Breathe in, right here, right now. Breathe out, I am safe. Right here, right now, I am safe. Right here, right now, we are safe together. Namaste, Amen, and blessed be. This very strange Sunday is the climax of our annual pledge campaign. It's not the best timing, but here we are. I'm going to talk about the pledge campaign and supporting Tapestry in a minute. Before I do, I think I need to spend some time addressing what is on everyone's mind. The coronavirus has turned all of our lives upside down. We're all seeking different ways to cope with the challenge. So first, let me remind you that being worried and being sad is okay. I know these aren't fun emotions, but they're perfectly reasonable responses to what's happening in our world. Denying what we're feeling is never a good idea. That doesn't mean we let those feelings run the show, though. The trick is to be aware of those negative emotions while we continue to seek joy and meaning in our lives. Last week, I did a short Zoom meeting about maintaining mental health and using some basic meditation techniques. A written version of that session will be available by email and on the website soon. Participants in that meeting got a lot out of it, so I've decided to start a short weekly meditation on Wednesday evenings. You can see more about that in the announcements portion of the order of service with a link to the Zoom meeting. Meditation is one method of staying focused, of focusing our minds and our moods. Our minds are very busy by nature. Most of the time, our attention will be captured by something. For our active minds this week, there's a lot of worry, and 95% of it is out of our control. No one seems to know exactly how long this is going to take or what the aftermath is going to be. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet of worry for our busy minds. And unlike our stomachs, our minds never fill up. With no answers and no concrete action to take, our minds can spin from one bad news story to the next, one worry to the next, until we say, no, that's enough. We're not going back up to the buffet for a 10th plateful of worry today. Most of us have tried to take a break with distractions. We read, we craft. Julia has done a full analysis of the amount of insurance coverage we need to cover our personal property at Tapestry. Bless her for choosing that distraction this week. Some of us have taken a deep dive into the digital world through social media or watching our favorite TV shows. There's another possible distraction I want to offer you. This probably is the best time in our lives to practice mindfulness. Instead of worrying about big concerns with no answers, try investing more energy in noticing the world around you. When you go for a walk, don't go worry outdoors. Go and notice the variety of types of trees in your neighborhood, the songs of different birds. Notice the feel of the breeze on your skin and the sun. Notice the change in your heart rate, the change in your breath. Do your shoes make a noise on the pavement? Notice the homes that you pass. Is the town quieter than usual? The same process of being aware of the present moment applies to meals. Instead of worrying why people are hoarding food, notice the smells when you cook. The sound of your knife cutting vegetables. Notice the sound of the sizzle, the smell of each individual spice as you add it. Notice the changing color and texture of your food as it cooks. And when it's done, sit and enjoy the meal itself. It's an event, a pleasure, maybe to share together with people you live with. Each meal offers a whole journey of sensations to experience and appreciate. Going for a walk and cooking a meal are just two of the sensation-filled experiences. There are tons of other options. And I know this sounds a little monk-like. I'm not suggesting that we all live our lives at a snail's pace, but try it out here and there. I'm really not exaggerating when I say this is literally the best opportunity of our lives to practice being more aware of the present moment. I also want to remind us, in the midst of all this uncertainty and fear, nothing has changed about what we know deep down to be true. That life is good, both on a personal level and a more universal level. Life is good, and we are blessed to be a part of this tenacious tendency toward life and beauty that thrive on this planet. With so much bad news, we can forget that our life itself is a gift. There very easily could have been nothing at all. One pesky microscopic virus should not distract us from all this goodness and all this beauty. Life is good, and we are so, so fortunate to have acquired a scientific understanding of hundreds and hundreds of years of smart people working together to discern the truth. At the moment, we don't have every resource we might dream of, but we do have an unbelievable depth of knowledge and skill to beat this. In addition to the knowledge, human compassion is a force that is truly miraculous. There are healthcare professionals every day risking their own safety to help those who are in need. We are so incredibly blessed in this moment to be as prepared as we are to fight back against this little virus. Life is good. We have wisdom and compassion on our side, and we have each other. Each of us has a network of family and friends. Some are bigger than others. Each of us is connected to this caring community. In this time of crisis, I've been blown away by the unexpected reconnections that have been fostered by phone calls and social media. It's kind of a shame that it takes a hardship like this to draw us closer, but let us take a moment to celebrate those relationships. It's good to be in community. It's good to be together. I'm not going to tell you that everything is going to be okay. It's not. Lots of people are sick and dying. There will be economic consequences. And in the midst of all that, we push back by proclaiming that life is a gift and we are a gift to each other. The past few weeks, I've been struggling to find hopeful words, as if hope was something that I could just spew out of my mouth. The tough truth about hope is that it's a choice. No one can give you hope. I can't hand it to you. You can't read it. Real hope is a commitment that arises from within each one of us. It's a choice to push back against the darkness and to celebrate every ounce of the goodness of life. Hope is a commitment to the goodness of life, even when things aren't perfect, especially when things aren't perfect. It isn't reserved for the lucky or the religious. Hope is available to anyone willing to turn their sights away from despair to celebrate life. One of the interesting effects of all these churches going online is that folks are checking out different services all across the country. I want to acknowledge that not all of you are established members of our Tapestry community. Some of you have been in the past, and hopefully some of you will join us in the future. I want to talk some about giving financial support to our community. Hopefully, some of what I have to say about generosity will inspire you to support the communities that you're a part of, if it's not Tapestry. Sometimes in life, we coast along. I actually think a lot of life we coast along, putting one foot in front of the other, getting through one day and then the next and then the next, without a real sense of urgency or direction. We're doing some good, exciting new stuff at Tapestry, but I have to admit, since we got into our new building, there's been a little bit of a sense of coasting. We're here. Now what? Well, with the arrival of the coronavirus, coasting is no longer an option for us. Over the past few days, the word that keeps coming to mind to describe this situation is a plague. I've called it a health crisis, but that doesn't really capture the widespread nature of this thing or the fear that it invokes. This is a plague, and that's religious language. And this is a time when we, as a faith community, are going to be called on like we never probably have before. Most of us are in tremendous need of community right now, both because of the fear of our daily lives living with this, and because we're not meant to live like this. We're not meant to be sheltered reclusively in our own individual homes. We're supposed to be together. And Tapestry is one of the best ways of getting together that I know of. And if we're honest, we're just beginning to see the consequences of coronavirus. We're going to need one another, not just for social and emotional support. We're going to need each other's help with food, with groceries, with medicine, and the time may come when we need each other's help to get through financial fallout from this economic shutdown. This isn't a time for any faith community to step back. This is the moment that we're made for. To keep our congregation vital in this crucial time, we have to maintain our income through annual contributions of our members. Again, I'm not trying to be naive. The financial impact of coronavirus is a real issue that will affect all of us. Typically, at this point in a pledge campaign, we're asking you to consider making an increase in your annual giving. We have all sorts of ways of asking for that, either by a percentage or a dollar amount. As your 401ks are on a roller coaster and companies around the country are cutting back, I cannot, in good conscience, ask anyone to give more. Our ask this year is more modest. As a gesture of faith in the good work of this community, and as a gesture of faith in the goodness of life, knowing that we will get through this, we're asking you to sustain whatever you were able to give in the 2019-2020 church year. Pledges can always be adjusted later if they need to be. But the board and I are asking you to step toward hope and to commit to maintaining your current level of giving. Now, if you won the lottery this year, or if you somehow had the foresight to invest in face masks or ventilators, feel free to give all that you can, but most of us are not in that situation. This is when people turn to Tapestry. It's up to each of us to ensure that Tapestry stays vital and healthy for all of us, and for all those who have yet to find a home in this loving, supportive community. Instead of collecting your financial commitments in person today, we're asking you to make your pledges through our website. There's a link in the order of service and in the chat screen here on Zoom. So while we enjoy the music during sharing our gifts, I want to encourage each of you to follow the link and to make your financial pledge now. Maybe, just maybe, if we do it all at the same time, we can crash the online giving system. I'm here in our building today, and so look forward to the day when we can meet here together again. I don't know exactly when that will be, but I know it will be magical. I miss you all. Stay well. Amen. Of course, in addition to making your pledge online, we encourage you to follow the link in your order of service to sharing our gifts. This month, we're helping to support the American Association of University Women and their local scholarship fund with half of the donations collected. As we enjoy the music together, may you be moved to generosity.
Please join me in our closing hymn, Be Thou My Vision. Be thou my vision, O God of my heart, not be all else to me save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, God. Thou my soul shelter, thou my high tower. Raise thou me heavenward, O power of my power. Riches I heed not for world's empty praise. Thou my inheritance now and always. Thou and thou only first in my heart. Sovereign of heaven, my treasure thou art.
We extinguish this flame, knowing the light remains in the warmth and compassion of our hearts until we are together again.
Just a short reminder that after the service is complete, after Melissa plays the postlude, the room will stay open. You can use the chat function and feel free to unmute yourself, but speak briefly because Zoom can only recognize one speaker at a time. Worship need not cease. It can echo in our lives, in our words, in our deeds, in our moods, in our dreams. So carry worship with you wherever you go. Go in peace, and let the light within you be a blessing to the world.